Welcome to another edition of the FOAC-Ilea podcast. I'm joined today at the Great American Outdoor Show here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, with our newest board member, Lizzie Jackovich.
Hi.
Lizzie, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for sitting down with me.
Absolutely.
This is fun. We're kind of getting to know the people that are involved with FOAC, and so I thought, hey, we're here together. We live on opposite sides of the state. Why not sit down, have a conversation, and let people find out a little bit more about what makes Lizzie tick.
All right.
So tell us about yourself and your journey to coming into FOAC.
So I actually won a contest that I didn't know my husband had submitted for me. A gentleman was running a contest to win a free class with Mr. Clint Macro. If you ever heard of him?
I have heard of him, yes.
So I won a contest. So I met him and I went out and I took a course with him. And it was awesome, very knowledgeable. I learned a lot that day. And then a couple months after that, I got an email from him that said, hey, I have this gun bash. Would you consider volunteering? So I talked with him and Dr. Chip Gallo, and we figured out the best place for me would be at the Beer Wagon, because that's my background.
Okay.
And so I started in 2019 or 2020 or 2020 on the Beer Wagon. And I did that for a few years. And I guess I did a great job because now they've named me the chair of the bash. So I kind of oversee all of it.
So tell us, when is the gun bash?
So our spring gun bash, we have 2 a year, spring and fall. Our spring gun bash is our next one. It is Saturday, March 22nd.
Fantastic.
At the Washington County Fairgrounds.
Okay, and people can find all that info on our website.
On our website, FOAC-Ilea.org, or for short purposes, we are now 2A, like Second Amendment, PA.org.
So 2APA.org.
2APA.org.
Awesome. And they can purchase tickets to the gun bash online?
Yes.
Fantastic.
They're online right now. You can sign up for a membership if you're not a member yet.
Okay.
And there's all the levels, 1 year, 3 year. We love our life members. Give your time to the cause. So.
Awesome. So we're giving away some pretty cool guns.
Oh, yes. There are 21 guns on the main ticket.
Fantastic.
And if you are current or former law enforcement or military, we have free raffles for that you can get in on.
Right.
And then we've got a variety of side raffles. There's $5 pick of the gun tables, $10, things like that. We do walk around specials for $20 a ticket. Those are fun. The wall of guns. And then we do a mystery gun, which is always a high value gun. You never know what's inside. Okay. And then we do a mystery gun safe, which is a large firearm safe. And there's 3 firearms in that safe. You get the whole thing if you win.
Okay.
So it's a great time.
And nobody knows what the 3 guns are?
Nobody knows what they are. We don't even know until we open it.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. This is going to be my first bash. I'm planning on coming out.
Okay.
Again, living 5 hours away. It's a little tedious, but I said, you know what? It's your first bash. Your excitement has caught me, and so I am coming out, and I cannot wait to see what we do with this. I'm very excited.
Good. Well, I'm excited for you. It's a great time. It's wonderful. Like you're in a room full of typically around 1,000 attendees is what we have. Just a room full of patriots, and it's a great time for fellowship and meeting folks that are like-minded and just spending the day together. It's really nice.
Tremendous. I can't wait. It's going to be very exciting.
Yes.
So tell us, how did you become so passionate about the Second Amendment?
When I was younger and I realized that so much of what I knew growing up as a really small child was going away in our world. And there was a need to start worrying that your Second Amendment rights might actually be taken from you. And I think when that clicked in my head, I thought, well, wait a minute, why would anybody want to take our guns away? That's for us to protect ourselves. So then I went down a rabbit hole at that point, and I started educating myself further. I started researching more, doing a lot more reading, and just seeing that threat. It just seems like every day it gets worse and worse, that there's more of a possibility that our rights could get taken from us. And that made me very passionate because as Reagan says, it's not passed in the bloodstream. We're one generation away from losing freedom. So that's something that we need to do now to preserve our way of life for our children and for the next generation and so forth. So I do what I do for myself, but mainly for my children, to have a future where they can responsibly and legally own firearms, carry those firearms to protect themselves and their children and their family.
Yeah. And you have 3 kids.
I do.
Any interest right now? I know they're still fairly young. Any interest in guns or shooty things?
My daughter, she could recite the basic 4 rules of firearm safety when she was 4 years old. She has been reloading bullets with my dad and I since she was 5. So she can, I have a video I'll show you. She runs through there and shows you how to load bullets and the scale and all that.
It's tremendous.
So she's trained. We do dry fire training at home. We have all kinds of situational awareness, I would call it. We have little trainings in the house. So like if somebody's attacking me and I cannot defend myself and I'm home alone with my kids, we have a code word that if I yell 3 times loudly in succession, she knows I need to get my brothers, get a phone to call 911 and hide and keep them quiet, So it's just situational stuff to where, because people don't think like that. And I grew up, my whole family, law enforcement, military, FBI. This stuff I've learned over the years. You watch a movie and this woman's being attacked and her kids, what do they do? You could call it paranoid. I call it aware. So I have a plan with her. Now my other children, my 8-year-old son has autism, so he doesn't understand things as clearly. And then my baby, he's 4. So he's not, at that age yet. So to have that plan in place with her, to be able to care for the kids, if something should happen to me and be able to call 911, I think it's important that we train our kids to do things like that.
So let's go down this rabbit hole for a minute, because I think it'll be interesting to our viewers. Home defense. You're a family of 5. You've talked about this. You've planned. What advice would you give to parents who say, ooh, we like that idea. We think our kids are mature enough or responsible enough to incorporate into this, or we want to at least distill a basic plan down to them. What advice would you give to parents who want to start having that conversation with their kids?
So I would definitely gauge where your child is at mentally, responsibly, and just be very real with them. I've run into this a lot where parents, they think, oh, because we're talking to a child, they can't understand this, we think, or they won't understand what I mean by that. Then tell them what you mean. I am very open and very honest with my daughter, and all my kids, but she's the one that gets it at this age. But I told her it's more than just telling your kid, hey, if something bad happens in this big generality, call 911. Well, one thing I learned from various firearms courses, if you're on the shooting range taking a professional course and somebody gets shot, and you just call the police and you say, oh, hey, we're out here at Logan's Ferry and we're shooting and this guy just got shot. They don't know what you're talking about. Is there an active shooter situation?
And thank God that does not happen often.
Right. Is there an active
very rarely
shooter?
in training,
Why did this happen? But when you have someone like Clint giving you that verbiage, hi, this is our location and we have had a training incident with a firearm, or we've had a person was shot due to a training incident. You're letting them know there's not an active threat. You don't need to come full SWAT, but that this happened. You want to be able to give those details.
So what I hear you saying is even teaching your children how to contextually give that information
Correct.
to a 911 dispatcher.
Correct.
Is
Did
very
mommy
important.
fall on the floor and she can't breathe because we were eating pancakes?
Versus we had a home invasion.
Versus a man broke down the door. So when I talk to my daughter about things, I say if somebody knocks on the door, we're going to hear that. They ring the doorbell, we hear that. Who could it be? So what I try to tell my daughter is the person on the other side of that door is not always a mailman delivering an Amazon package. Sometimes the man or woman on the other side of that door could have not only a firearm, but they could have a knife or some type of weapon. So if mom opens the door and this person attacks her, if you just tell them, if you see something bad, call 911. They're just going to get a phone and call 911, and there's a person here. It's all over the map.
Yeah.
But if you see somebody come in and they attack mommy, get your brothers, go to this location, call 911. Say it's me and I have my 2 little brothers. There's 3 of us here. My mom is here, my dad is not. Somebody just came through the door and attacked my mommy. Then they know, they can articulate. Can you articulate? They can articulate to the officers like, hey, we have a home invasion.
So parent comes back to you and says, okay, Lizzie, that all sounds great, but how do I do this without scaring my kids?
I took that risk. I didn't think of it in that manner because I wanted my children to know that life isn't all puppies and candy canes,
Yeah.
So I'm raw with them. I told my daughter, the likelihood of someone coming to our house and hurting us, very slim. But you got to look at that broad range. The possibility. Is it a possibility that this could happen?
Right.
Yes. The probability. Maybe not. And then the plausibility. You kind of expand out.
Sure.
I learned that from Flynn as well. So I would say, you don't have to really scare your kid, but tell them the truth. There
Don't
could
go
be
into all
someone
the
on
gory
that door
details.
that wants to kill you. They, and don't get into the details of how.
Yeah.
But it's important that young women know that sexual assault is a thing.
Yeah.
So without going into the specifics, you want them to know this is very serious. And if this happened, my daughter, that code phrase that we have, she will never say that word any other time of her life. It's not something that we could accidentally say, like, go get the laundry or go get the code word.
Right.
So it's something very specific that she knows.
Right.
If she's in danger and somebody gets her and I'm in a different room, to say it and vice versa. So,
it's fascinating to think about because societally we accept all kinds of other situations that we explain to our kids. For instance, we talk about fire drills in school, and we talk about sex ed as they get older in public schools, and we talk about all kinds of things where there might be risk to them that they should consider. But people kind of get anxious around the topic of violence or assault and distilling that down. So I think you've provided some helpful things for people to think about as they try to have these conversations and navigate them with their children. And I know it's something that every parent wants to protect their child from.
Right.
None of us ever want to see them hurt. It might be our worst fear. Very good. So what would you say to someone who wants to begin their journey in Second Amendment activism?
Join a group, first of all. There's
Any group in
powers in
particular?
numbers. Well, I could think of one.
Maybe if you're a Pennsylvania resident, we have an option for you.
We do, and that's, honest to goodness, it's our group, Firearm Owners Against Crime. And don't leave off the Institute, we kind of shortened it down there, but the Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action. It's important that people know we're not just a group of people that are just guns. I mean, it's the very foundation of our rights.
Yeah.
We attend borough meetings at local municipalities. We are in the entire Commonwealth, and I think a lot of people don't realize that either. And the minute we get word of municipalities and small boroughs infringing upon our Second Amendment rights, we jump on it. Because we want them to know that you can't overreach. Nobody is above the law, right?
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And that's what we strive to be. So I would just say, join a great group and educate. It's so important to understand. And the great thing about our group is that you can go to our website and we've done the work for you.
Sure.
So you can track, we've got 17 bills right now that you can watch. You can set up alerts on our website through your email so that, and I have a lot, so that when something happens when a bill, you learn about it first. Once it happens, we have that information readily available.
So you would say educate yourself.
Educate. That's
Get to know the
biggest
issue
thing.
first.
Yes.
Join an organization that can help you with that.
Yes.
Take advantage of online resources.
Correct.
Anything else that you would give? Those are big ones. Those are good ones.
They are. Just, be passionate about what you're saying, what you're doing. Educate yourself, be knowledgeable. They say don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Don't bring what you read on the internet or you heard from somebody to what you're planning to save your family with. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I don't know how I'm trying to word it.
Yeah, in other words, vet the information that you read on the internet.
Right.
Make sure
and
it's quality
understand.
information.
Yes, sir.
Anyone
and
can post something.
Yes, and then work on that, be passionate about that and give your time. I mean, that's with this organization, we're all 100% volunteer. We don't get a paycheck. Every penny that we earn from our bashes and our events, it goes to this fight because we have to.
Yeah.
If we don't do it, everybody always thinks, well, somebody else is going to take care of it. We are that somebody else.
Yeah.
So the only way we're ever going to be, continue to be as effective as we are is if we grow our organization.
Yeah.
So we want everyone to join.
Sure.
And so that we can all fight this fight together.
Awesome. So you talked about our website. What are some other websites like that you personally use to keep yourself educated or to check in on Second Amendment news that's going on?
So my go-to tool is with the United States Concealed Carry Association.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They are serviced by Delta Defense. And USCCA, they're just great. I should probably work for them as much as I recommend them. I have their leggings on today, which are great concealed carry
They have
leggings,
great merch.
by the way, for
They have
women.
great
They
merch.
have great merch. I think my hoodie's behind you.
There you go.
Somewhere. Love the merch, but no, it's you think you have to have auto insurance because if something happens and somebody hits you, you want to be able to get a new car. It's the same with USCCA. Like the insurance is great. You know what I mean? Because I know right now if I have to pull my gun to protect myself, I don't have $5,000 for bail. I don't have 10 or plus thousand off the bat for an attorney retainer, but they do.
Yeah.
Do I have the $39, $49 a month, depending on how much training you want, for that insurance that has my back? Absolutely. That's a staple in my family's budget.
Interesting. That's great.
And USCCA, they have wonderful apps, like their USCCA app, where your account information is, your training academy. They've got the USCCA reciprocity map. It's an app. So if you're traveling, you can see where you can take your gun as long as you have your concealed carry permit in the state of PA.
It's a great resource.
It's a great resource.
People could easily go out of state, going
Right.
on vacation, going on a day trip. Oh, I bring my gun with me, I put my gun on every day,
Right.
and then all of a sudden they're running afoul of the legal system without even realizing it. So that reciprocity tool is a great feature. So their education is wonderful.
Oh, it truly is.
Any other websites or any other books or resources that you could think of, say, hey, you gotta check this out?
I would say, so obviously Clint, his whole thing with the Trigger Pressers Union, and him and Matt Mallory run Meet the Pressers. That's a good podcast.
Very good podcast.
So they are a trove of knowledge.
Yeah.
I have the personal ability to be able to text Mr. Clint Macro if I have questions, that's a VIP thing that everybody gets.
That's helpful.
So yeah, I just honestly, I try to stay away from media as much as I can because there can be a lot of,
and yet here we
this
are.
or that, right? Like that article I sent you that had said like 20 some trucks were vandalized when they were going to,
Sure.
but it was actually only like 8 trucks, but 20 some tires.
You bring up
that's
something. You bring up something important. What tips do you have for people to vet the information they see online? Because we're in a day and age now, I tell people all the time, it's getting harder and harder to find the truth in the sense of knowing what was reported and if it was accurate.
Right.
So what kind of tools do you use when you're checking out a website or reading a news story to kind of vet that information to see if it's true?
Well, first of all, I go to Google for a lot because if I see a headline or something, I put it in Google because 9 times out of 10, if it is a legitimate thing, you type it into Google, there's 500 articles. If you say, somebody said, oh, there was a mass shooting in St. Louis today. If I type that into Google and nothing comes up, that's a false headline right there.
Sure.
But if I type it in and there's all these media outlets with videos and there's 500 articles,
And
it
something
happened.
happened.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you read each individual article, they're all going to be different. There were 17 casualties. There were 16 wounded and 1 dead.
Yeah.
They all vary. So typically I go to the people that I trust. So it's like the people that you do trust who may or may not be in the media. They're a reputable source. They're not fake news. They're not people who are just looking to further an agenda. So I look towards people that I know and trust to vet certain information depending on what it is.
You mentioned mass casualty incidents, and I always tell folks, those details are going to change, especially in that first 48 hours after the incident. Things are chaotic on the ground. You have multiple law enforcement agencies, multiple news outlets. Those numbers and stuff will change, particularly of casualties. So yeah, it's important to give the story time to breathe before we get really dogmatic about the details. But I think that's key. Checking multiple sources is a big deal for people.
Yes.
Go to Google, check it out, read a few different sites to make sure you're getting the story. I like that. That's good advice. All right, you want to do our lightning round?
Sure.
I'm very excited
Sure.
for our lightning round.
I bet you are.
We've been doing this with some guests, and it's been pretty popular. Okay. So let me ask you some questions.
Okay.
They're fun questions, but they're unique to Lizzie.
Okay.
It's whatever Lizzie thinks. Okay. What's Lizzie's favorite gun to shoot?
H&K VP9 SK.
Interesting.
Yes.
I just talked to the gentleman at the HK booth yesterday, and he told me that gun is discontinued.
I got one. I got one.
You got
before
it
they were gone.
You may want to. And he said they're still on the market now, but they're kind of redoing their lineup. So, but I've heard from many people, even family members, that love that gun.
I love the entire VP9 series. My dad has the full size. Obviously, the SK is a subcompact. It's a lot smaller. I got that for concealed carry.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I love the entire
favorite
VP9 line. But Heckler and Koch has always kind of had my heart. And
You're
then
so
Sig Sauer
bougie,
right beneath
Lizzie.
that.
You're so bougie.
Lena Michalak, she shoots for them.
Oh.
She's great.
All right, what's your favorite SIG?
P320.
P320.
The OG. That was my favorite pistol that I had until I upgraded to the HK. Now that's my favorite.
Interesting. Okay. What's a gun you'd never get rid of?
A gun I would never get rid of. Like that I've had?
Sure.
Or if I had one, I wouldn't get rid of
a gun that you have now that you would never ever part with.
Probably my grandfather's service revolver.
Wow.
From when he was chief of police in the Williamsburg borough for like 20 years. I would never get rid of that. There's not an amount of money in the world that could buy that. Yeah.
Do you know what the model is?
I believe it's a 38, but I'm not sure.
Okay, probably a Smith & Wesson issue of some
Oh yeah,
kind.
Smith & Wesson, yeah.
Fantastic.
But I believe it's a 38.
What a cool family heirloom.
Yes.
That is tremendous. Worst gun you ever shot? Your least favorite to shoot?
Springfield Hellcat.
Oh! Sorry, Springfield.
Yeah.
Just, what didn't you like about it?
The grip. So for concealed carry and like leggings, just going to the grocery store, it's the greatest gun on the planet. It's
super
so
compact.
tiny, 16 in one. You know, you have the extra power that you need. Great gun. But when you take a course with Clint, and you put about 300 rounds downrange, and you have small hands, you go home with pain for a week. The grip, I no matter what I did, it was just too small for me.
Sure.
So it really, it didn't fit my hand well.
Yeah.
It is a great little gun.
Yeah.
It was accurate. It was, but for me personally, I just would not recommend it. I wouldn't use it anymore. I've had 3 and gotten rid of them.
Wow, okay. I wrote an article a while back for the FOAC newsletter that comes out bi-weekly, and I talked about considerations for micro-compact pistols. And, there's so many positive things. Lots of ammo, small packages, easy to conceal.
Right.
But a lot of the things that people don't think about is once they get out and train with it,
yes,
man, this little guy packs a wallop and it beats you up. And it's not necessarily the gun's fault, it's a physics thing.
Right.
Those smaller guns just tend to pass on more felt recoil to the shooter. It's just hard to get around that. So a lot of folks don't know, they run out, they get that small gun, they go try to shoot it, and they have that experience.
I did it 3 times.
It's not necessarily the gun's fault.
I bought one, didn't like it after a lot of rounds, sold it. I won one. I was like, oh, okay, I miss having a tiny gun.
I'll try it again.
And then did it again, and I was like, no, I'm not going to shoot this. I'm not going to carry it. Because I do believe in practicing and in training so often with the firearm that you carry every day. So I do a lot of dry fire at home if I can't get to the range and whatnot. But that's why I don't like to change EDC, so much, because I have to keep up with that training.
Yeah.
But I trained with that Hellcat so much. You thought by the second time. But then that third time rolled around, and I got an opportunity to buy it for like $250 less. So I was like, okay, it was a nice, because it's so nice to conceal.
Yeah.
But then again, I started shooting it again. I can't do this. So finally, done with that.
And this is inherent to that size of gun across manufacturers, right?
Right. And I mean, the grip, like that specific grip, I feel is just really rough. And I couldn't find any good silicone grips to fit over top of it like you can with the Smith & Wesson, like the M&P 9s and the Shields. they have that universal silicone you can put around them, and it's so nice for a grip. But I couldn't find anything to fit that Hellcat, so that didn't work out for me.
Interesting. All right. So, best class you've ever taken?
Best class I've ever taken.
Best firearms class you've ever taken?
Honest to goodness, there's two. So there's Intro to Shooting. When my very first class was the best because it made me so much more comfortable. I was a person where I wasn't afraid of the gun, but I wasn't, I'd pick it up and I'd pull back the slide to make sure it's clear.
One of these, keep it away from me over here.
Right, and it was but it made me, at the end of that class, I was comfortable picking it up. I was a little quicker, but it gave me my passion for firearms. So that's why it's my favorite. And then I'd say, down the road after all these years of education, I would say USCCA's, their home defense / level 1 defense class. So it was half in the classroom and half on the range. And I loved that because in the classroom setting, I got to further my education and knowledge, which I'm so passionate about. And then at the end, I got to pew, which I love to do.
You get to apply the skill that you learned in the classroom.
And in that class specifically, it taught about moving while you're shooting. We were bouncing around, sliding from side to side in scenario-based training, and it was very hands-on. And I got to show myself what I've learned. And that's, now I pull my firearm, I can clear it, reload a magazine in 2 seconds and get back on target. It's nice to see where I came from and where I'm at now, and to continue to further that education and training.
That's wonderful. You bring up an important point that I think, we talk about the importance of training and how everyone should do it. And I know we both believe that. But I think one of the things that people don't realize is that the confidence that they have after the training is something that you can't explain to them until they learn it.
Right.
Once they go to that formal class and they put the time in, your confidence grows in ways that you just can't explain until you do it. And you're going to get the smarts and the education and understand the nomenclature and what the things are called on the gun. But what you really gain is confidence.
Right. And
you feel better equipped to defend yourself. And that's just such a huge benefit to formal training. I think maybe we don't talk about enough.
I agree.
You're going to leave a more confident person.
I absolutely agree with you. I tell that to a lot of my girlfriends, is that they'll say, well, I'm scared to have it. If you're scared to touch a gun, you have no business touching a gun.
Yeah.
In the same sense, that should make you want to start the process of getting comfortable.
Yeah, get the education to eliminate the fear.
Start with just book, a classroom-based education. And then from there, get a cert pistol. A gun that is, or just get a, like USCCA, when you join and get a membership, you get this cool little ammo can, and it has a gun inside. It's a yellow gun, and it has nothing to open, no trigger. It's just plastic, but it's a weight, and you start there, and you get comfortable having that in a holster on your person and walking around with it, feeling it, and then the more education, I'm going to start practicing taking it from the holster, getting used to those movements, work your way up until you have a real firearm in your hand and you're comfortable with that firearm, and then just train with that firearm.
That's great. Yeah, those plastic training aids, the cert pistols from Next Level Training, the blue guns that you can get your specific firearm in just a molded plastic piece. That's really great for helping train yourself with muzzle direction and grip, and just working some of those fundamentals in isolation, but really helping with the confidence and what does a good grip feel like? And you can work on that stuff at home so that you're less thinking about it in the class context. You can focus on developing different skill sets like recoil management and accuracy and other things.
I agree, yes.
Tremendous. Lizzie, this has been so fun.
It has.
Thank you for sitting down with me.
Absolutely.
We're so happy you're here at FOAC.
Happy to be here.
And I cannot wait for the gun bash. So one more time, give the details.
So FOAC Spring Gun Bash, Saturday, March 22nd, Washington County Fairgrounds, main building number 1. Doors open right before 1 o'clock. We're done at 6, so the bash runs from 1 to 6. You can buy our tickets online for the main ticket, $50. That gets you your entry to the 21 guns on the ticket, which are great guns. We always have great guns, but this year, it's a great list. We've all vetted it thoroughly. It's a wonderful list. And that's your beer, your food, your desserts, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a great time. We look forward to everyone coming out.
Can't wait. It's going to be great.
Great.
Wonderful. Well, thanks
we
for
can't
sitting
wait to have
down.
you.
And stay tuned for more content from the FOAC ILEA podcast.
Thank you.